Recording in progress. Here we are. Coach Miner, welcome everybody. We do these calls occasionally. I know we have some of our Team Grit, some Max Hoops Helps participants, and some guests. So appreciate everybody joining us on a Sunday afternoon. Rainy here in Portland, Oregon. Looks nice back there in North Carolina. I'm sure it's nice where Eli's at in Arizona. Maybe too hot, but thanks everybody for hopping on. It's my privilege and pleasure to introduce to you a good friend of mine, Dr. Bethany Tennant. She's a naturopathic doctor. She was a college athlete. She'll tell us a little bit more about her background, but she works with youth all the way up to NBA players. So she is a wealth of information. So if you do have your notebook handy, be ready to take notes because I've heard her speak quite a few times and she always brings new information. So Dr. Bethany, I really appreciate you joining us today. These young guys have a lot to learn. So appreciate it. We'll turn it over to you with that and I will go on mute. So thank you for joining us, Doc.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me this afternoon and thank you so much for joining. I know these Zoom calls can be a little bit challenging to stay as engaged, but I'm really hopeful that some of the information I'll be sharing with you is stuff that you can even incorporate later today or this week to help support you as a student and as an athlete. So as Brant mentioned, I am a naturopathic physician. I'm also a certified nutrition specialist. And that's just to say that's kind of my favorite tool in working with both patients and with athletes. And I grew up loving this game of basketball. I was able to play in college back in New York, where I'm from. And then when I moved out to Portland for medical school, was able to sort of start putting those together, my love for sport and especially basketball, and my love for medicine, specifically naturopathic medicine. So if you're not familiar with what that is, it just means I have more tools in my toolbox. So I can prescribe pharmaceuticals, but I often work with patients and with athletes around nutrition focus or sometimes botanical medicine or physical medicine or down the line. There's more tools that I like to use. And so when I work with patients, I think about the idea of food as medicine. And when I work with athletes, I really like to have you consider nutrition as part of your training. So by raise a hand here, how many of you guys have been working on like conditioning? Anyone doing any running or I don't know, bike riding, something, any ellipticals or treadmills? Okay, awesome. How many of you guys are working on strength training? Are you guys doing any lifting right now? Quite a few of you. Okay, great. What about skill development? How many of you guys are working outside of practice on your shot, on your ball handling? Awesome, great. How many of you are thinking about what you're eating? If anybody, a few of you. Awesome, awesome. So if this is new information, this is great. I just want to encourage you to think about it once again as part of your training. And oftentimes, I'm curious, how many of you guys started playing basketball in, I don't know, third grade? Raise your hand. Third grade? Maybe some of you, maybe even younger, or fourth grade. I'm curious, did you guys work on layups when you were that age? Raise your hand. Did you guys work on layups? Okay. And you guys look older than that age right now. How many of you guys are still working on layups? Yeah. Guess what? Coach Miner, how many, in college, did you do layups? Did you have to practice layups?
We did do layups. Yes. Warm up every day.
Right. So I think what's the connection I want you to think about is as you get to the next level, it's not about doing these like crazy new things. It's about doing the little things even better. And you can see that in top players like Steph Curry. He's doing ball handling. He's one of the best ball handlers, right? And he is still doing some of those same drills every single game and some of the same drills that you might be even doing or that you might have even done when you were in third grade, right? Just like one-handed or in and outs or crossovers, right? So these are some of the things I want you to think about when it comes to nutrition. And so I'm going to give you 3 pillars of performance I want you guys to focus on. The first one is thinking about what you are drinking. And that means being hydrated. So drinking water. How many of you have heard of like drinking water the first thing that you do when you wake up? Has anyone ever heard that before, or is anyone practicing that? Some of you? Great. So Coach Miner, if you're doing any sort of challenge, I would say this would be a great hydration challenge, would be in the first hour that you wake up to drink 1 cup, which is 8 ounces of water. The reason why that's really helpful is when you're sleeping during the night, you're going to wake up, you're already a little bit dehydrated. So it's a great way to kind of wake up your body, wake up your brain. It's also a good cue for your body to think about drinking water throughout the day. And as an athlete, I would say the reason why you might want to think about drinking more water is that as a scientist, right, studies show, research shows that it can improve your shooting percentage. So whether it's free throws or 3-point shots, there were studies that were done to compare those individuals, those players that were hydrated. And the reason is it has to do with your vision, being able to have better depth perception, and hydration is a key part of that. So if you're working on your shooting game right now, one way you can do that is doing some of the little things even better, and that means drinking more water. Got it? A lot of people struggle with drinking water, and so a few tips or tricks or strategies. One is what we talked about, that challenge. So drinking it right away. The next thing would be to just have it accessible. So I'm sure a lot of you guys already have like water bottles, you carry them, whether you take it to school or to practice. So having it with you. Sometimes having it, I will have my players or patients have a water break. So like a reminder on your phone, a timer, because a lot of you, raise your hand if you've heard that if you're thirsty, you're already a little bit dehydrated. Have you guys heard that before? You haven't? Okay, so that's new information. That means you have to stay ahead of the game by drinking water before you feel thirsty. And so by doing that sort of proactively, one way you can think about it is having it with some of your breakfast or a lunch, or having it kind of as a timer, or before your practice especially. Sometimes people think like, I don't like the flavor. So this is one of the tricks I like to do, is add a little bit of lime or lemon if you need some sort of flavor. If you're like my dad and you need it to be ice cold, maybe it's the temperature that you need to have it. And if you really struggle, there's fruits and vegetables that are hydrating. So if you maybe want to chat in a guess, we'll take a little bit of time. If you could think about what would be, do you think a fruit or vegetable that would be helpful in keeping you hydrated?
Watermelon.
Yes. There's like 5 that are good. Okay.
Jackson guessed it. Cucumbers.
Yes. Excellent. Got a smart crew here. A couple more. Apples. Great. Yep. There's 2 more that are part of the top 5. One is a berry, and oranges are very good, but there's a couple that they just have more water content in them. So they're just a better option or more efficient in some ways. Celery. Yep. Excellent. Grapes. These are great. Strawberries would be another one. So those are some great top 5. So watermelon, apples, you guys got these. Celery, cucumber, and I would say strawberries, grapes would be a close option too. So these are great things to also think about as you're either having before practice, or if you're having tournaments, so in between games, that you can think about as part of your snacks to stay hydrated as well. So that is hydration. I also want you to think about, as a doctor, we think about signs and symptoms, and that means, how does your body tell you when something is kind of off or wrong? And there are signs and symptoms that your body will tell you when you don't have enough water or you're dehydrated. So if you guys want to, this is a doctor test here, but if you want to take your hand and you pull up part of your skin here, this is called a turgor test, and it should go right back. So your skin should return right back. If you were really dehydrated, it would just stay. And so that is a really bad sign. That's usually not what you'll see. But other signs that you might experience would be things like, maybe if you guys want to take a minute to guess, if you're familiar, what are some signs of dehydration, signs or symptoms of dehydration? So if you're not getting enough water, do you have any idea what how your body might communicate that to you? Headache, absolutely. Great, Russell. Anyone else have another guess? Yes, lightheaded or feeling dizzy. Great. Good job. Yes, not enough saliva. Yeah, you'd have dry skin, dry mouth. You guys are doing great. Sometimes it can also be muscle cramping. It can also be blurred vision. And so when I think about how these symptoms affect you as a patient, that's one thing. But also when I think about as an athlete, if you're having these experiences on the court, you can't play your best, right? And this also, I encourage you guys to be good teammates to each other, to say like, hey man, drink your water, because you don't want your point guard to have a headache and blurred vision and cramping on you, right? That's not going to make them play at their best level too. So that is the pillar of performance, hydration. There's a lot of detail to think about, but those hopefully are some reasons why you want to stay hydrated, especially as a basketball player. Again, I think the most interesting thing is that it helps with shooting percentage, and some of those strategies that you can consider about whether you keep water near you, flavor it, have a different temperature you like, or have different ways of reminding yourself. So I don't want to take too much time. So the next two, I'll be a little quicker. Then I often talk about nutrition, and I speak about eating like a champ, CHAMP, eat like a champ. And it's an acronym. The one that I'll highlight is the C, which stands for colors. And that again is going to be fruits and vegetables. And I want you guys to think about, eating the rainbow, if you haven't heard that before. So Skittles is taste the rainbow. This is eat the rainbow. So you want to think about a plate, whether it's a salad or your sandwich even. You want to add a lot of different colors. So you want to have a red tomato and green lettuce or cucumbers or purple cabbage or whatever it is. Thinking about more colors are going to be more vitamins and minerals for you as an athlete that really supports muscles and nerve function. Especially the one that I think about a lot is magnesium. And if you don't have enough magnesium, lots of times you'll have that cramping. Have you guys ever had that like calf cramp or hamstring cramp like in the middle of the night? Those sort of muscle cramps can be pretty intense. And one of the ways you can support your body and prevent those is by having enough minerals such as magnesium. So I want you guys to think about a lot of colors. And then the third pillar of performance I want you guys to think about is a part of recovery. And as Brant mentioned, I've worked with youth athletes and I've worked with some of the top players, and the conversation that I've been having as a potential work opportunity with an NBA team is they are specifically focusing on this area. It's sleep. It's sleep. And the reason why it's so important is because you guys know, right? Like if you haven't slept well, your mood is bad, your timing is off, you don't feel as strong. So a lot of times your reflexes and your sort of like coordination is a little bit lagging. But what's really important for your age group is not only is it for recovery, but injury prevention. And there's been studies that show, once again, that for your age group specifically, there's a much higher risk of injury when you haven't been getting enough sleep. And so for you guys, you want to think about 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and not just from like midnight, 1 a.m. till sleeping in when the summer schedule kicks in, but you want to think about a couple hours before that midnight is really important too. And for your age group, that's also important. If you're thinking about trying to get stronger or gaining muscle or getting taller, that's when you have something called growth hormone that does its thing during that time during the night. So if you want to get stronger, taller, prevent injuries. And there's also a study, I think it was Stanford did it, on free throws and 3-pointers for having more sleep and how much that increased. So if you want to be a better shooter, once again, you want to drink water, but also think about sleep. So those are some of the top tips I wanted to share with you guys. So again, so that pillar of performance, if you're a visual person, I'm sorry, because I know this is very just conversation, but hydration, talk about eat like a champ, but focusing on colors, and that's in fruits and vegetables. And lastly, really thinking about the importance of sleep. So with that, I would love to open up questions, or Brant, if you have other things you'd like me to kind of speak on.
How, will you touch on how important it is to kind of have like a not a ritual, but like a sleep schedule, like is it circadian rhythm?
Yep.
Would you touch on that, Doc?
Sure. So one of the things is that it's hard to just play catch up on sleep. The best so to optimize, so your circadian rhythm is your sleep and wake cycle. And the way to kind of help support your body is to do that consistently. So to have a consistent schedule in that way. And if you're having a hard time, falling asleep or staying asleep, or you're waking up, you're not feeling well rested, then that's a really sort of a good indication to think about how you can support that routine at night to help you with the sleep. And so some of the things you can think about would be, as best you can, not like, it's not the best time to go lift weights, as best you can, not training super late at night, as best you can, not eating like a really big meal right before bed. Avoiding screen time is the hardest one for sure, but limiting whether you're on the phone, computer, or watching movies really late, it will certainly interrupt and disrupt sleep. So those are some things you can think about right away. It's actually called sleep hygiene, if you haven't heard of it before. And they're practices that support being able to sleep better at night. So having a room a little bit cooler temperature, having it really dark, these are things that can be helpful overall. Good question.
We can open it up. If there is anybody that has a question for Dr. Bethany, feel free. You can unmute. And if you're here, stick around. We will be giving away a prize here. I won't forget. This time I'm entering everybody's name into the wheel of names, and then we'll spin it, and one of you will win something exciting, some type of prize. So if you're here, hang on. But if you have a question, unmute and ask, and I'll give you an extra name on the wheel of names. Who's got the first question? Braden, go ahead and unmute yourself. You don't know how to unmute yourself?
Can you type in the question in the chat?
There we go. No,
there you go.
Let me. How long do you think would be a good amount of time to be on a device per day?
On a device? Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Well, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of you are having to do Zoom school and stuff right now. So I think that's a little bit tricky just because some of the things aren't in your control. But if you're thinking about either like doing video games or phone time and such, it's tricky. I would focus to support your body. I would think about like at least an hour and a half or 2 hours before bed would be a good thing. If you could stop at even like 7:30, you might just see how you sleep well. But I think that goes I think parents have rules about that more than I can give like advice. And I think you're kind of at the mercy of some of the school stuff. But what do you think would be hours? What would be your ideal, or would you prefer unlimited? Three hours. That's good. Yeah, I think if it's work related, if you're just doing games, then yeah, I think it would be a different, but that seems like a reasonable amount. Any other questions?
Go ahead, Rico. Rico, can you unmute? Or let's see. Should be able to unmute yourself if you would like. Is it?
Yeah, I'm good.
There you go.
Are you good?
Okay. Yep, we gotcha.
Yeah, hi.
What drink would you think is the most beneficial for athletes when practicing or working out? Do you think like Gatorade or Body Armor would be the best, or just water?
Great question. So I was definitely focusing on hydration, but you also want to think about electrolytes. And so when you're sweating, you're losing some of those sodium, potassium, magnesium, manganese, and you want to replenish that. And some of those on the market can help, but lots of times there's a lot of sugar or preservatives or kind of things that aren't as helpful. One of the things you can try is coconut water, or I like coconut water based drinks. That's kind of like nature's Gatorade. There's a few, I'm not associated with them. I have them here somewhere. Is like LMNT is a brand. If you've seen those, that's kind of like a powder, or I'll put it in there for you guys to see. But so those are some things you might want to think about replenishing. And then you also want to consider as like an individual, do you like sweat a ton, like through your shirt, or if you're going to be on a plane, these are other things you're going to think about when it relates to hydration and electrolyte replenishment. But that's a great question.
Harry says, what is the best thing to eat pre-game or pre-practice?
Really good question. So everyone's a little bit different. So you gotta kind of want to figure out what's best for you. And I would encourage you to try new things out on a practice day, not on a game day. So that way you know what's going to work best for your body. For some people, it's, I think a lot of people do well with something like a banana with either peanut butter or almond butter, or an apple with peanut butter and almond butter, because you're getting a little bit of protein, a little bit of healthy fat, and some of the complex carbs. So you're not giving your body like a spike of glucose, which means you might have an energy crash once it's gone. Some people do good with like a half a, sandwich. Other people like kind of like a protein bar or power bar kind of a thing. And some people like just things to drink. So it depends on kind of what you prefer. Does anyone Kent, do you have a current favorite or go-to? Are you trying to find your go-to?
Don't say Skittles. Don't say Skittles. I don't know if maybe I set it up so people can't unmute.
Oh, maybe.
No, I think. Harry, can you try unmute and see if you can?
Okay, is it working?
Yep, we hear you loud and clear. What do you got? What's your go-to snack?
Before practices, I usually do really well on Premier protein shakes. They have like beef sticks, stuff like that. They have like 30 grams of protein just for a little carton, and that like fills me up, so I'm not hungry and not like full at the same time and get like a stomach ache or something.
Yeah, I would say lots of times like I maybe think like a turkey beef stick might be a little bit, might tolerate better than usually. Like red meat products take a little bit longer for your body to digest, but yeah, it's definitely, you kind of figure it out on your own. For some people, it's like a smoothie is really great. For other people, it's like a light meal. So I think it's great that you're thinking about it even. And then I would just encourage you again to try and do it before sort of practices or like a scrimmage or something, as opposed to like game day. You don't want to shock your body and have it not respond well when you try something new that it is not best for you.
Good question. Thank you, Harry. Anybody else have a question? Any other questions? Is it okay to drink soda and have sugar treat? All things in moderation. No, go for it, Doc. What would you say to that question for Hadrian?
Yeah, I think that would be a great thing to eliminate or limit. If you're thinking about summer goals, I would say people often will work with me because they're trying to either like lose weight, gain muscle, recovering from surgery, or trying to optimize performance in that way. And, I think how things that you're used to eating or are your go-tos, as you start changing those healthy habits, I think what changes though, so when people first want to work with me, sometimes it's just because of how they are looking, but then you realize like how it changes how you feel. And when we do lab tests, we can see how it actually helps with how you're functioning. And so when you're thinking about like sugar, it's going to be caffeine and sugar, you're going to have energy spikes and drops. It also kind of gets in the way of your body recovering well. It might also cause a little like inflammation in a way that you might have more joint pain. And it's also dehydrating. So you might, especially with things like sodium, you might, so anyway, that's just to say it's not helping you. And I would think about trying to limit that as best you can. So I would say sometimes I'll do a 0 to 60 challenge. So 0 soda and 60 ounces of water would be the challenge for like a week, and just see how that goes. But thank you for your question.
Probably one of the easier questions you've had.
I'm curious what you thought I would say otherwise, or do you have any other thoughts about that? Soda or sugar?
Hadrian, how much soda do you drink? Can you unmute Hadrian?
Whoa, on the spot.
Let's see. How much soda do you drink?
My mom buys these like small cans of soda. And I have like, I don't drink like a ton, at least once every 2 days or something.
Okay.
Small cans.
Yeah, I'd say
Okay.
try to switch it up and just see how you feel. You know, sometimes people realize, you know, their energy or headachy or mood changes, those types of things, or sleep. Sometimes it inhibits your ability to sleep well. Any other
Anything else before we spin the wheel? Is going once, going twice. Sold. Here we go.
Oh, that's
I'm
fun.
gonna have, this is fun. This is fun. This is for Max Hoops right here. You have your choice between this pair of Max Hoops. And if your name is not on the list, I don't know if everybody can see, I got Jackson B, Damian, Taj, Hadrian, Jason, Russell. Braden gets 2 because he had the first question. Jacob, Aiden, Fabian, Mason, Rico, Braden, Drew, Eli, and then Coach Mitchell. Your whole crew is eligible. If the wheel lands on them, we will spin it with the names of the guys you have there, or I will send you a few things and you can decide who works the hardest today. Is there anybody that's name is not on the Wheel of Fame, or not Wheel of Fame? Maybe you might be famous if you win. You have your choice between this pair of nice pink shorts, or you can have a custom jersey. Maybe we'll spin it twice and give away extra prizes, because I like giving things away, and my wife likes it when I give things away because my garage is full of stuff. With that, I didn't hear anybody unmute and say, but my name's not on there.
I think
So I'll
wait.
Dr. Bethany's not on there. We'll give her a shot. I like that.
Coach,
Who do I miss?
Harry.
can you scroll up on the list?
Let's see. Let's see if we're missing Harry. Harry, because it was disguised as Kent. So we'll give Harry a shot. There we go. Okay, here we go.
I get 2.
How fun is this? We get to hear from a doctor and you get a chance to win a prize. Let's go. Here we go. Here it is. Spinning. Let me move it up. Everybody can see it. Everybody's on there. Ready, set, spin it. There we go. Everybody can see it. Looks like it's coming up. Hadrian, Jason, Taj. Let's go. Winner, winner. Look at that. Taj is the winner. So we're going to remove him and we're going to spin it one more time. One time, fun time. Here we go. It's for the second prize. Spinning it again. Giving something away. Here we go. Fabian, let's go. Here we are. So let's get the little celebration confetti going off. And there you have it. So wait, is Fabian still on? Oh, unfortunate. I know Taj is there, Librano, but it looks like We got a message. Dr. Bethany Tennant.com. Very awesome website. I love it.
I just wanted to share that. So if anyone has any other questions or parents, I do work with athletes locally at the clinic, but I also do consulting. So if there's additional things you want to follow up on, I just want to make sure that that's something that you know is an option for you.
And your email address is on your website?
You can just connect to me through the website. You can reach out.
Does
So
it have your socials on there also? I know
It
you
does.
give a lot of great information on
Yeah,
your.
I'll share that too. And so sometimes whether it's like an allergy, food sensitivity testing, if you have other symptoms, those are things that I can help with. And I'll just type this in real quick too. But yeah, just want to make sure that
Awesome.
you can follow up if you'd like.
Feel free to follow up. I know I did, and Dr. Bethany is now my doctor, looking after my health, which I am extremely thankful for. Dr. Bethany keeping me healthy. With that, you guys can feel free to unmute, say thank you to Dr. Bethany. Dr. Bethany, I just want to thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time on a Sunday afternoon to hop on and help educate these guys. I know I took away hydration, eat like a champ, colors, fruits, vegetables, and sleep. And that's stuff that you can implement right now, today, to help you be a better player. And it's not just Dr. Bethany saying it, there's scientific research done on the more you drink water and the more you sleep, the higher your shooting percentages will be. So if being healthy isn't a good enough reason for you to do those things,
Exactly.
consider your shooting percentage. So you guys are free. You can, if you can, I think everybody should be able to unmute themselves and say thank you. And then, yeah, you guys are free to file out, or Taj, stick around for a minute if you would. Love to chat with you. But Jackson, good to see you. Mario, thanks for hopping on from the 808. Eli down in Arizona. Some of the other guys are Portland area. But Coach Mitchell, I want to see you work those guys today. Appreciate you guys all hopping on and listening. Hopefully you guys all got something out of it, because I know I did. So Jackson, I see you're unmuted.
Thank you.
Can go say
Thank
something.
you.
Thank you.
Jackson, thanks you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Coach. Thank
Thank you, coach.
Coach.
Thanks for
See
having
you
me.
guys.
Good luck, you guys.
Thank you,
Next
Doc.
week, book study. Next week, if you're still on and you're grit, if you're grit, Max Hoops helps. Eli, I know you got your book. We're gonna go through the first 3 chapters next week. Next
Okay.
week. So if you are on the call next week, 3 chapters.